Summary of Like a Winding Sheet by Ann Petry. Johnson, an African-American guy from a working-class background, wakes up after a restless night's sleep. He doesn't like working nights, so he's not only tired, but he also missed his chance to make food for his wife May, who also works nights. The couple jokes around for a while, and May says that seeing Johnson wrapped up in their bedsheet reminds her of a huckleberry in a winding sheet. As the two go to work, May learns it's Friday the 13th and wants to stay at home because she thinks it's bad luck. Johnson tries to convince her with love, even though he knows that most men would have acted more harshly. Even though his legs hurt, Johnson gets to work at the plant and thinks about how his job could be changed to make it less tiring. Johnson gets the attention of the white forewoman because he is late to work. She insults his race when she talks back to him. When he gets angry, he imagines hitting her. Instead, he hurts her and tells her that she can't use such harsh words anymore. She moves back uncomfortably and says she's sorry. As the night goes on, Johnson keeps getting more and more tired. He stops outside a restaurant on his way home from work to avoid a crowded train car. He sees a number of his coworkers waiting in line for coffee, so he joins them and waits in line. When it's his turn, a white waitress tells him in a relaxed way that there's no more coffee. Johnson thinks that her actions and voice tone show that she is being racist toward him in a casual way, and he has another violent dream about striking her. He gets angry and walks away without looking back. If he had turned around, though, he would have seen that the waitress really was out of coffee and that a lot of white people were also being turned away. Now very tired and angry, Johnson goes back home. Here is where he finds May, and he sits down on her work clothes. She tells him to stand up because he's going to wrinkle them, but he doesn't listen. She starts to tease him, and without meaning to, she uses the same words and gestures as the forewoman and the waitress. When Johnson loses control, he beats her badly, hitting her over and over. He feels like he has no control over his hands and can't stop what he's doing, as if his body is tightly wrapped in a winding sheet.
About the author. Petry was born into a middle-class African-American family in a mostly white neighborhood. As she grew up, she became one of the best female writers about race in the middle of the 20th century. Petry's father was a pharmacist, so she went to the Connecticut College of Pharmacy when she was in her 20s. She then worked in the family shop for a few years while developing her writing skills. She started writing plays and short stories when she was young. In 1938, she married mystery writer George D. Petry. Together, they went to New York City, where she started working as a reporter for the People's Voice and Amsterdam News to improve her skills. As a journalist, Petry wrote about the harsh truth of life in Harlem, which gave her a lot of ideas for her fantasy writing. Under the name Arnold Petry, her first story, Marie of the Cabin Club, came out in the Afro-American in 1939. In the years that followed, she published a number of short stories under her own name, including Like a Winding Sheet, which was first published in Crisis in 1945 and later collected in Martha Foley's Best American Stories of 1946. The Street, Petry's first book, came out in 1946 and won her a Houghton Mifflin Literary Fellowship and praise from people all over the country. She went on to write two more books, Country Place, 1947, and The Narrows, 1953, as well as Miss Muriel and Other Stories, 1971, which was a collection of her short stories. Much of Petry's work is about the racial tensions and gender issues in Like a Winding Sheet, which shines a light on the problems that African Americans face every day. In a 1965 article, she summed up her own method by writing, "These are people. Look at them and keep them in mind." In 1997, Petry died in her hometown of Connecticut.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.